Good morning, everyone. This is Sam over at Scorpio Rising Astrology here with another Signs 101 video for you. It is the Sun's day, and so we are recording the Sun's sign, which is Leo. Now, it is important to understand that both our luminaries, the Sun and the Moon, only have one sign each, whereas all of the other planets, the five other personal planets, each have two signs that they rule, and that makes up the 12 zodiac system. So although the Sun is only ruling one sign, he is no less important, and God forbid we question Leo's importance. So let's go ahead and jump into what makes Leo Leo. Okie dokie. So here we are with Leo, and of course Leo is the lion, and the lion archetype is kind of very important, both because of the symbolism of Leo as king. We all know this from the Lion King Disney movie. There are lots of popular associations with Leo being the ruler, Leo being the most high, a lot of regal. If you've ever visited like a castle in England or looked at different seals or monograms, the lion is often used to denote status, and that's kind of its energetic role. But also I really enjoy the lion as a figure of Leo, because when we look at Leo as the masculine fixed fire sign, it is literally surrounded by a corona, a crown of fur, very similar to the radiance of the sun. And I enjoy that imagery very, very much. Even when we look at the female lioness, how she is the huntress, she is the one who's actually embodying the masculine warrior fire energy of that Leo sign, how cats in general have that glowing eye even at night, allowing them to see in the dark and transmute radiance. Like all of the symbolism, just so delicious for Leo. So we are here with Leo to explore the sign that embodies the sun, basically. What is it to be light? What is it to radiate that light? What is it to be a source of light for others? And how Leo can both embody that, but also fall apart when it is not that. Okay, here we are with Leo, just really nice artistry piece. I love this image of Leo, just the striking eyes, that very fixed gaze. You know, one of the things that I've noticed with people in my life and clients who have very strong Leo placements is when we look at the sign that truly embodies the sun, it sheds light on everything around it. And that also makes it very hard to hide from a Leo. Leo is probably second only to Scorpio in its ability to sniff out the bullshit. And they both do that through very different mechanisms. Scorpio uses its deep, dark, sensitive perception, and Leo basically just walks into a room and says, you're casting a longer shadow than everybody else. You're hiding something. And that makes everybody who surrounds that kind of inner radiance of Leo very nervous. So don't hide stuff from a Leo if you can help it. Not that you would be able to if you tried. So Leo is the fire element, and this is where we get a lot of Leo's basic traits. Fire is the element of heat, it is the element of warmth, it is the element of light. And so all of those qualities we would then transpose onto Leo. We then also kind of look at the sun, the ruling planet, jumping ahead in the stats just a second, because the sun is not just a gigantic fireball, but it is also the center of our solar system. Yeah, and so Leo constantly wants to be the center of attention, right? We see how the energetics are at play here, but there's a reason why the sun is at the center of our solar system, and why Leo wants to be the center of attention is because Leo has so much to give, right? The sun is big and massive and bright and boiling and keeps us warm and keeps our planet from freezing over. And so too does the inner light of Leo help us to shine light on our own faults and our own strengths. You know, Leo, as an illuminating sign, really does bring forward a lot of self-realization. A lot of times you'll ask Leos who they are, and they'll be like, oh, I'm an open book, right? Because Leo really doesn't know how else to live their life unless they have major water replacements or stuff that is naturally hidden in the natal chart. But Leos, as a rule, will resemble the sun, always the center of attention, always shining their light big and bright and bold, but not because they're doing it from a place of ego. They're doing it because it's who they are and it's what they give, right? They're just assuming their natural place in the universe as the center, as somebody that can be depended on. And this is where the fixed mode comes forward. When we look at the fixed signs, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo, these 4 signs are notoriously predictable. Even Scorpio, who dives into the depths and hides their secrets, we can depend on that. Even Aquarius, who locks themselves in their ivory tower and tinkers with their experiments, we can rely on that. Taurus, the most predictable and normal of the signs. You know, we can predict that Taurus is not going to move from that same spot, from that ritual, from that routine. And likewise, Leo will always shine. Leo will always seek to be the center. Leo will always enjoy giving that warmth, giving that love, giving that compassion, giving that radiance. But that also comes at quite a cost. So we need to understand what it takes for Leo to do those things. The symbol of Leo we can also see in the lion category. We see the circle of the head and then the lion's mane or the lion's tail, and that being a nice symbol for the astrological sign of Leo. The highest virtue of Leo is going to be radiance. And when we think about radiance, if you want to take a nerdy trip with me into the niche world of specific scene of Beauty and the Beast, the original cartoon from Disney, there's the moment where the Beast becomes human, and it seems as if it's already too late, but the prince is actually lifted up in this magnificent display of magical light, and shooting stars indeed start kind of flowing from the transformation process. And I absolutely adore that scene. And whenever I think of Leo, that's the scene that I think of, is just constantly exuding this magical radiance that really does have the power to lift people up, brighten their day, reminds them of their own strength. Now, again, that radiance can also expose weakness. So if you are used to being weak, if you are used to playing the victim, if you are used to hiding things from others, or leaving some of your work half done or unprocessed, Leo will be your fiercest enemy. And let me tell you that from personal experience. As somebody who has Scorpio rising, one of the things that Leo loves to do is pick on the sensitivity of the water signs, because a lot of our stuff is just kind of floating in the flotsam and jetsam. And Leo can't stand that. Leo can't stand the idea of that radiance not being present enough to burn away all of that stagnant feelings, that's all of those stagnant feelings that are kind of being digested and worked through. So Leo will expose a lot of those half-baked truths of you, and will really force you to kind of come to terms with who you are, what you want, and what you deserve out of life as well. You know, Leo, although can be dramatic and can be aggressive, can be very aggressive. You know, fire signs have that aggressive tint to them always, whether it's the happy and passive aggressive of Sagittarius, whether it's the competitive aggression of Aries, or the kind of truthful knowing aggression of Leo, or the protective aggression of Leo as well. Fixed signs are notorious protectors. We also have this idea of the radiance kind of being piercing and not always being comfortable. The deepest weakness of Leo is vulnerability, and I have to laugh when I say this, because anybody who has had a Leo in their life for a hot minute, and they've gotten sick, they've gotten down, they've gotten trounced by a lover, they've reached the end of their rope. The level of extra, the level of over-the-topness, the level of life is over, the thorn in the paw realness that comes forward from a Leo in their times of vulnerability is absolutely detrimental to who they are as a person. You know, Leo, when we think of a sign that really embodies what it means to be truly rooted in a sense of self, I always think of Leo. But they are also the biggest wusses and the biggest babies, and they do not handle true vulnerability well. I have not met a Leo who's willing to show me their scars in that particular arena of vulnerability. Like, they will always show you what they feel comfortable showing you, but never, and they'll be able to shine the light on others, but not necessarily on themselves. That vulnerability, because the sun radiates from the inside out. There is no light that can be reflected within. If you try to hold up that mirror, you know, it's like trying to hold up a mirror to the sun. It's light. You don't see inside of it because there's so much radiance coming from the inside out. And when that radiance stops, when that light fades and when that vulnerability takes over, it's an extremely uncomfortable space for Leo to be in. So it's almost a rite of passage for anybody who studies astrology, but also who has a Leo in their life, to learn how to take care of them in their most pitiful and pathetic space. And that can be a true bonding opportunity for both of you. But it does require a certain level of kind of holding your nose because the stench of extra is so high. Some of the things that Leo needs, including the room. And when I say the room, I mean the attention of the room, yeah? But I also mean a room full of people who are of equal value to Leo. Leo really does enjoy surrounding themselves with a solar system of their own, right? The sun needs things to orbit it. And Leo just absolutely adores the idea of walking into a room, being surrounded by their peers who are of their same cloth or of their same level, because Leo can recognize differences very well and respect those differences. But if you're not playing at Leo's level, get out of town. Because Leo, again, does not tolerate weakness very well. So Leo does enjoy that experience of going to the party, going to the social gathering, and being surrounded by the room of people who are worthy of Leo. Recognition is a big thing, and I'm not just talking about compliments, although if you follow me on TikTok, one of my most popular videos was the compliments video for Leo, where there's a soundtrack about give me compliments and the deservedness of compliments, and I themed that song around the Leo experience, and I think that that's still very accurate. But we're not just talking about compliments, we're talking about recognition of all kinds. We're talking about awards, we're talking about status, we're talking about promotion. Leos automatically require themselves to be the manager, even of their own schedule, of their own space, but especially the manager of others. Leo really requires that level of power and that role in order to shine and to achieve its level of egoic satisfaction. Talent is another thing that Leo needs. And when I say talent as a need, I don't mean that Leo needs talent. In fact, some of the most talented people that I've ever known are Leos, a natural talent, right? But one of the other things that I find absolutely fascinating about Leos, and this is something that I haven't read in an astrology book anywhere, but this is just my personal observation. Leo has an eye for talent because like attracts like. Right? So what Leo will do is they will naturally attract people who are talented, and they will often seek to support them financially, attention-wise. All of the Leo people that I know are constantly going to their friends' concerts, trying to support them, trying to support their art, sharing their stuff. They're very supportive of talent, but they also require that talent to kind of echo their own talent. It's a mutual recognition. It's an honoring. Yeah, I surround myself with talented people, therefore I am talented, therefore I am worthy. My circle is of value, therefore I am of value. And that is kind of the Leo's gauge of what's what. Before we get into we could talk about this. So Leo is smothered by emotion, first and foremost. And we see this a lot in the vulnerability aspect. When Leo is downtrodden, or when the fur of the cat gets wet, that's when Leo is really at its least powerful. Now we can really go back to the idea of fire here, and understanding how when the fire is out, when the fire has been doused by the emotion of water, yeah, that's when Leo really starts to lose a lot of their power. Fire is a conditional element. It needs a certain amount of dryness, a certain amount of friction, a certain amount of fuel in order to stay lit. And when emotions come forward and douse and dew and dampen all of that dryness, that friction, that air, Leo just completely gets smothered and goes off their rocker. Now, when Leo is functioning properly, yeah, a good Leo is kind of like a good hearth. A hearth is that central home fire that keeps everything lit, keeps everything warm, keeps everything kind of dry and no longer muggy, yeah? But also you cook on it, yeah? You dry clothes near it. It is the center of the home for a reason, very much like the solar system analogy. So we need to understand that Leo really does require the ability to kind of stay burning at all times in a safe and sacred space that is full of kind of daily tasks and talented expression. But when emotion enters the equation, all of that predictability, all of that fixedness just really just starts to melt. Lethargy is another thing that Leo is rather stumped by. Again, when I say lethargy, one of the things that we can think about is a fire. Yeah, fire requires fuel. And a lot of times, Leos as fixed fire, they won't realize when their fuel source is running low. They won't realize when their fire is burning too bright and consuming too much of the wood, the kindling that is underneath them. They will often seek alcohol as an accelerant during those times to keep their fires lit, or sugar, or anything that is a high energy substance. And that's one of the things, Leo is naturally very energetic and bubbly and positive. I think that one of the things that we need to be aware of is when they turn to substances that are stimulating, that's going to be a cue that their energies are misplaced, right? But lethargy as a whole, when their fuel source has been removed, or when they no longer have the energy to keep up that radiance, Leo really just collapses in on itself. Very much like if you've ever seen Howl's Moving Castle, another animated movie by Studio Ghibli, masterpiece. But Calcifer, the idea of the home fire, and once that home fire is removed, yeah, that energy source is released, then the entire castle crumbles. And that's very much like Leo and their royalty. Their castle crumbles without that energetic fire to keep it lit. Leo also is a sucker for details. They don't enjoy the nitty-gritty of what it takes to do something behind the scenes. Because the minute that they start to focus on the details, Leo loses that flair for the dramatic, because they prefer to just walk on stage, do their part, share their charisma, speak their truth, and then walk off stage and collect the roses and applause. They're not the ones behind the scenes pulling the rigs, writing the script. Very rarely will Leo even stick to a script. you know, it's one of those things where the details of daily life often evade a Leo, and they feel that they are just entitled at their worst. Leo is one of the entitled signs of the zodiac, one of the most entitled signs. And when Leo really starts to understand that a little bit of detail, a little bit of organization is necessary in order to perform at peak capacity, then they start to really mature and come into their own main, as it were. But when it comes to details, especially earlier in life, Leos are notoriously reckless and anti-detail, anti-routine, anti-script. And so when we think about that, we need to always partner them. You know, one of the sidekicks of Leo that I find super valuable, sometimes can be an unhealthy power dynamic there, but Virgo is often an excellent sign to pair with a Leo because of their detail-oriented nature, their ability to get stuff done. Same thing with a Capricorn, or even a Taurus, you know, any of those earth signs to help ground and support the stage that Leo would walk on. Okie dokie. So that is Leo in a nutshell, the fire sign ruled by the sun. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you really had a light bulb moment, or if you think that I missed something, feel free to use the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Continue to watch all of these videos for the signs. We're going through them all. I've got one more day of recording from Monday, the Moon's Day, where we will go over Cancer, and then all the videos will be up on the YouTube channel. Make sure to check the sign for your sun, your moon, your rising, the people in your life. The more we study astrology, the more we start to learn about ourselves and the world around us. But I'm also a professional astrologer, so maybe you have some Leo placements or some Leo people in your life that you'd like a little bit more insight on. If you know your birth date, place, and exact birth time, we can always schedule a consult to go deep into your natal chart, their natal chart, work on synastry, and really start to unpack the astrological mysteries of your life. Also, if you would want to learn astrology, I also teach, and you can see some of the online classes free for, or not free, available for download on my website on the online classes page. Just go to scorpiorisingastrology.com and you'll be able to see consultations as well as classes there, and lots of other stuff coming soon. But until the next video, may the stars be ever in your favor.